See, ghost doesn't have anything to do with religion and the Bible. Doesn't matter. And then it doesn't have anything to do with that person. Because when you see like the big yard ghost, I saw my cousin and he was still alive. He is not dead, but he was there. You know, and we don't know why these things happen, and we don't know why only some people can see them and others can't. And I'll tell you another one. My grandfather, he used to tend the graveyard in Victoria Point. And one of the things he had to do is, the graveyard is sitting there on a sandy area, and in back of the graveyard is a pond. So when during the rainy season, when that pond full of water, you can't bury anybody there 6 feet, because you ain't got, you go down 4 feet and you hit water. So my granddaddy had to clear, we had a canal, my granddaddy had to clear the canal to let that water out, when it's like that. One evening, and of course, my mother's children was his favorite grands. All my mother's children was his favorite grand. He came to our house and he got me and two of my other brothers to go with him out to the burying piece to clear the canal, because sand get in the canal when the tide high. So he had to clear that sand so the water could run off. And while we were there, a man appeared on the western end of the cemetery, about maybe 200 feet away from us, and he was there looking out over the water, neatly dressed and everything else. Now the only way to get to the cemetery was from the side that we entered. The other side is a swampy area and it's a bush area. There's no road there, you know, so he couldn't get there unless he passed us. 3 of us boys there. When one guy is down in the hole, shoveling out the sand, 2 of us would be looking at this man. Change shift, another one go down, and then that one come out, and we looking at, 2 of us always was looking at that man. That man disappeared from there, and nobody saw where he went. He was like 100 feet away from the hedges, and the back of him was clear. He disappeared, and not one of us see where he gone. That was ghost. That was ghost. You know, and you know, this is I'm glad you invited me here to talk about these things, because there are a lot of mysteries in the world that you don't understand. But just because you don't understand something does not mean that that thing does not exist. You know, it exists, and whether you believe in it or not doesn't matter. A lot of people may say, I don't believe in gravity. You don't believe in gravity? Go on the top of the tower tomorrow and jump. See where you're going to go. See whether you're going to go up or down. Yes, sir.
One last question. You said back on the island, when persons were buried in the cemetery, they'd put their utensils, like fork and knife, on their grave as well.
Yeah.
Did persons also put food and drink on the graves as well?
No. They just put the utensil, and the clothes you wore, they is out of that house that day. Everything.
Yeah, because when Grace Turner, when she spoke, she said that was a common custom among to put utensils and sometimes food.
Dishes.
Yeah.
No, well,
Plant a tree.
you could go in the graveyard in Mangrove Creek when I was growing up and get a whole bucket of cups and saucers and spoons, but nobody can take it.
Yeah.
I just one of those, there's nothing really to it. I mean, you don't have to do that. Today, when you die, nobody threw away your clothes. But in those days, my brother, you die tonight, tomorrow everything you own is out of that house. And another thing too is, when you having the funeral service, en route to the graveyard, every house is locked up, every window is closed down, every bucket with water is empty, every tub with water is empty. They ain't want nobody stopping here to get more water on the way to the graveyard. And that's what people used to do. That used to hate me. Here it is. We used to get water from my grandfather's well, which was like maybe 500 feet away from where we used to live. I just done bring one big bucket of water, rest that down there, and the funeral passing by, my mother and throw that away. And it's fascinating to see the things we used to do in these islands. When you look back at it today, you can talk about it and smile and laugh and see how much fun we had.
Tell us about 10-10 Bible 10. What's that all about?
Oh yeah. Okay, that's a phrase you normally use when you are encountered by a ghost. You know one is there because you are in a lonely area and you're the only person there, and you can feel it because you're here now, stands on the ends, and you know that there's a ghost there. So what you do is you say 10, 10, the Bible 10, and they vanish. They don't like that. I don't know why. This was handed down to us from generation to generation, and that's what you say. You say that. That's it.
We were also told as children, if you were passing the graveyard, to keep your fingers folded, like keep your fists. Say don't point.
No, it's walk backwards.
Yeah.
Say don't point at the grave or anything like that. Why was that? You ever heard that?
Yeah, but then that's only. I think that's different from island to island. Maybe that one, I don't remember that one too well down home where I grew up, but in other islands, yeah, that may be so. But again, all of these things are only superstitious stuff. Has no meanings, means nothing, but just that you were told that this is the way it was done. I'll tell you another story. A lady, this young girl, every time her mother bakes the ham, she used to cut the end of the ham and throw it away. So she asked her mother one day, say, well, Mommy, you said, why are you cutting off the end of the ham and throwing it away? She said, my mother used to do that, so I do the same thing. She said, okay, when I see grandmother again, I can ask her why she do that. Very simple reason. The pan was too small. The baking pan was too small. You could only get maybe a 12-inch baking pan in those days. Makes sense. Now that could have gone through generation and generation to cut the end of that ham off, and they don't know why they're doing it. So she went and asked her grandmother, and grandmother said, look, the pan, the baking pan was too small, so I had to cut the end of the ham. So a lot of things you do, you only do it because somebody else used to do it before you, and they had a good reason for doing it, but you ain't know why you're doing it. Yes, sir?
Yeah, so you made mention that spirit come in the form of birds, so that's one of the reasons why, animals, birds and stuff like that, so that's one of the reasons why they say that if you see crow in the tree, somebody gonna die or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard that. If you ever heard that saying, if you see blackbirds in the tree or blackbirds on the roof of your house, death ain't too far or something like that. Yeah, well,
that's superstition. Because right now, when I cut my grass home, right here in Nassau, 100 black boys here looking for food. Now in the island, if you see a black boy come in your yard, boy, you don't run that long time. You could drunk, black boy. So all of these things are superstitious stuff that we do because other people say that's the way to do it. It's just like eating a particular food. Some children don't eat fish only because their parents never eat fish. Some children don't like this and don't like that only because their parents didn't like this or that. It's not And once the parents say we not gonna eat that, they don't cook that in the house, then you grow up like that to hate that particular food, and you never eat it. If you want to try it, you'll find that it's good and tastes nice and everything, but then you're not gonna try that because mama never cooked that, and so forth and so forth. Now I have another book too, and let me just talk about that. We almost finished it. This is a big one. This is the Bible. A Journey from Africa to the Bahamas, and I'm featuring my great-great-grandparents who came here as slaves in the early 18th century. My great-great-grandfather was born in 1810, and of course he died on the 19th of April 1900 in Mangrove Key, Andres, which means he lived for 90 years. And the book is written in two parts. The first part is A Journey from Africa to the Bahamas, and then I have a family tree of 7,000 names covering 8 generations and 200 years.